Okay, get this. Right now, as you're listening to my voice, there are trillions, literally trillions of cells inside your body having conversations. They're sending messages, making deals, and coordinating everything. It's like a massive secret social network, and we're about to log in.
So let's just start with that idea. I mean, really think about it. What if all the cells that make you had their own version of Instagram or, I don't know, WhatsApp? What would they even be talking about all day?
Well, here's the punchline. It's not a what if. It's real. This network is buzzing with activity 24/7, and it controls literally everything, from how you feel hunger, to your heart beating, to your immune system kicking in. It's the hidden language of life itself.
Now, you can't have a network with trillions of users without some ground rules, right? There has to be a universal protocol, a basic grammar that every single message follows so that nothing gets lost in translation.
And you know what? It's beautifully simple. It all boils down to just 3 steps. First, you have the signal. One cell sends out a little message molecule. Scientists call it a ligand. Then, step 2, the receptor. A target cell catches that message using a specific receptor, kind of like a key fitting perfectly into a lock. And that unlocks the final step, the response, where the cell actually does something, like divide or create a new protein. Signal, receptor, response. That's the whole game. But just like with our social media, not all messages are created equal. You wouldn't post a private thought publicly, would you? Well, cells have different styles too, depending on who they need to talk to, themselves, their next-door neighbor, or, the entire body. And this is where that social network analogy really clicks. You've got autocrine signaling. That's basically a cell leaving a sticky note for itself. Super important for immune cells to amp themselves up. Then there's paracrine signaling. Think of this as a direct message, a quick whisper to a cell right next door, like how nerve signals work. Endocrine signaling, that's the viral post. Hormones like insulin get dumped into the bloodstream and go everywhere. And finally, you've got direct contact. This one's literally a handshake, with 2 cells physically bumping into each other. You see this all the time when an embryo is developing.
Okay, so we've got the rules of the road and the different ways to send a message. But what are these messages exactly? And what do the inboxes look like? Let's zoom in a little bit.
So that message molecule, the ligand, it's not just one thing. A ligand could be a hormone like adrenaline when you get spooked, a neurotransmitter like dopamine that makes you feel good, or even a simple gas like nitric oxide. The variety is just huge, but they all do the same job: carry information from one place to another.
Now, how these messages get received is really cool. It all depends on what they're made of. Most signals are water-soluble, so they can't get past the cell's oily security wall. They have to knock on the door and bind to a receptor on the outside. But a special few, like steroid hormones, are lipid-soluble. They've got the all-access VIP pass. They can just waltz right through the wall and find the receptor waiting for them inside the cell. And the inboxes, the receptors, they have their own personalities too. The most common ones are called GPCRs. They're like the social butterflies of the cell. They get a message and then need to activate a little helper to really spread the word. Then you have RTKs, the power couple. They have to team up, pair up with a buddy before they can send powerful signals for things like cell growth. And finally, ion channel receptors. These guys are the gatekeepers. A message arrives, the gate swings open, and a flood of ions rushes in, changing the cell's vibe in an instant.
So this whole network is incredibly elegant, incredibly robust, but it's not invincible. Sometimes a message gets dropped, or worse, a signal gets stuck on repeat. And when that happens, the consequences for the whole body can be, well, catastrophic. This is really the heart of the matter. When cell communication breaks down, you get disease, and there's no better or more devastating example of this than cancer. At its very core, cancer is a disease of garbled messages and broken conversations.
Let that number just sink in for a minute. Almost a third of all human cancers can be traced back to one tiny mistake in one single communication pathway. There's a protein called RAS, and when it gets mutated, its switch basically gets stuck in the on position, so it just screams, "Divide, divide, divide," over and over, leading to the uncontrolled growth we know as a tumor.
So if disease is a communication problem, then what is medicine? Well, you could say that modern medicine is basically the art and science of being a signal repairman. So many of our most important drugs, from beta blockers that calm your heart to the absolute latest cancer therapies, they all work by either blocking a bad signal or boosting a good one, trying to get the conversation back on track. And that leaves us with a pretty mind-blowing thought for the future. As we get better and better at listening to and interfering with this cellular social network, we're moving past just fixing mistakes. We're on the cusp of being able to write our own messages from scratch. So the question isn't just, how can we fix things anymore? The question is becoming, what do we want to tell our cells to do next?